What's up, guys? It's the Bearded Buffalo back with some more Mavericks Proving Grounds information. Today we get some gameplay. So this gameplay comes from E3. They had a little side interview, so you're going to hear them kind of talking as a part of this video as well. We'll listen to them kind of chit-chat the questions that are asked. There's about 3 minutes of gameplay footage. So after that, we'll pause it. We won't continue this interview in this video. I believe episode 2 today. Episode 3, 4, 7 coming out in the very, very near future. So subscribe to the channel for more Mavericks Proving Grounds info. I'm going to tell it like it is. This gameplay, while exciting, while giving me hope that it could be good, I feel like it's a little rough. So we aren't even in the closed beta form yet. So hopefully this is going to get smoothed out. The number one thing that I think needs to be worked out is player movement. Now the quality of this video initially isn't that great. So we're going to have to just deal with it as we get it. It was the best that I could find. But let's get into it, and I will be pausing as well to chat about things that I'm seeing and noticing. Here we go.
You just sort of add in this game mode to what's otherwise a different game, or we just find that people are already enjoying that simple formula. But Mavericks is way more than about the formula. It's about really like doing a lot more with massively multiplayer sort of competitive gaming.
So what he's talking about there is, while people are already enjoying just a straight BR game where you click ready and you get into a match, he's talking about adding more than that to have an environment, a world outside of the BR arena. So that's what he's talking about there. Also, that rain back here.
It's about really like doing a lot more with massively.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but on my screen, that rain looks beautiful. And I know that dynamic weather is something that's going to be a part of this as well. So it's not just you're in a rain match, but that rain may come and go.
Multiplayer sort of competitive gaming.
And something else that sets this game apart from other Battle Royale games is the persistent elements that players leave behind when they're walking around or using items in the map.
So it's
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sun moving, looks like some fog has come into the map
Yeah,
as well.
so that sort of tracking, I mean, first of all, it's about optionality as well. Like when you're entering a building, you can siege the building, like certain experiences are made deeper by that kind of system, but tracking is also really important because, bending grass.
I don't know if they're going to talk about it more. I think they talk about it a little bit later, but if you noticed, he said sieging buildings, not just entering buildings. So again, referring to or mentioning that building destruction. Now I've heard them say Rainbow Six Siege-esque building destruction. Don't know if they mean that to be exactly like that. Of course not exactly, but as extremely similar, or if we're talking about building destruction in and of itself. You could take a house down. Not sure.
Grass, leaving footprint trails, and then the dynamic weather playing into how that washes away, and all those kinds of strategy.
I'm going to go back a second because I cut out a portion of that.
Siege the building, like certain experiences are made deeper by that kind of system, but tracking is also really important because, bending grass, leaving footprint trails, and then the dynamic weather playing into how that washes away, and all those kinds of strategies, they mean that, you are interacting with players not just through shooting them. There's that sort of impact on the world that all these players are making. And that means that by having more players, you are actually building a deeper experience. Whereas if you didn't really also have that kind of dynamic world, it would just be more people you come across. Whereas in Mavericks, it's not just about coming across people, it's about making a plan based on what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I love the idea that I can find a trail of blood on the ground and track it and find somebody.
It's great. We've been playing at our booth in the concourse hall.
Just the head of Improbable.
We were playing a session, and I came in, and there was a room where all the walls had been destroyed. Oh, and even though there wasn't a body there, I was like, okay, something really bad just happened here, and I feel incredibly unsafe because I don't know where someone is. I think the other thing that's great is having this idea of this also a persistent ecology. Right, so as something happens, typically, maybe you'll see something, but commonly you might hear something. I think it's great to then be able to have things like flocking behavior, having birds, by having wildlife. So if someone is in a combat, you might see like the birds take off and fly away. And now you can use that also as a way to read the environment. It's like, oh.
Okay, so now I think he's going to talk about it a little bit more, but before we start looking at the gameplay itself, which is a pretty short portion of this video, we saw a lot of environment panning, and like I said, low quality video, so it was a little bit of jumping and spotty, but this is the best I was able to find after sleuthing, digging in the internet for a while. I'm sure there's better out there, I just wasn't able to find them this time. He's talking about wildlife, so think of if you're out in the woods and all of a sudden a bunch of birds take off, 20 meters to your right. You're going to hear that. You're going to hear them freak out, hear them flapping their wings if it's a flock, and you're going to think something happened over there. Is it wildlife? Is it another player? I'm not sure. He also just mentioned other wildlife, so I know that deer or other types of wildlife of similar nature, not just birds, are going to be in the environment. So think of, 2 or 3 deer just come sprinting towards you. Chances are something is happening in that direction that they're running away from. Something spooked them and they moved. So that's quite interesting as well. So we're not only talking about environment like grass, trees, branches, mud, that type of tracking ability, but also using the other information that the game's going to attempt to provide us with the wildlife. So we've got wildlife, and then we have displaced grass and tracks of mud and footprints, burned grass, destroyed buildings, destroyed walls. There's a lot of information that they're going to attempt to provide us to help us play this game, and that's something different than other games have been able to accomplish thus far. Have other games tried? Maybe, but they have not yet been able to accomplish providing us that type of information in a BR structure. I'm quite excited for that. Now we're going to get into a couple flashes of gameplay. So some of the things that I can note right away, and I'm going to try to point them out with my mouse. Map looks weak, right? It's probably extremely early, but the map looks very weak. Looks like this guy has 0 kills at the moment. Can you see that below my head or above my head? Yes, you can. And 4 players left. That's what I'm guessing these 2 numbers are. I'm not sure. And then it looks like we've got 2 guns and a pistol, so 3 guns. Really, his health looks like there's healing packs, and I don't know what this tab here. There's a couple of things, obviously, I don't know. It looks like he has some chest armor, and then 22 rounds is what I see. Here, we're going to see a lot of third person today. However, I'm positive. Well, I'm 90% sure that first person will be a part of the game. They've mentioned it before, but again, promises made versus product delivered sometimes are different. Let's take a look. The player movement is a little bit off, a little bit choppy, maybe, is a good way to describe it, and gunplay is probably not perfect quite yet. Again, this is very, very much alpha build, but let's take a look and let's enjoy what we can here.
Oh, something's happening over there, not just in a general space that maybe I'm trying to hone in on.
Right.
Bill, my question for you now as Chief Creative Officer, I mean...
So what you'll see here is we're actually seeing bullets hitting the ground and dirt, debris popping up, which I think is something that's super cool. Here it looks like this guy's shooting a shotgun, and you're seeing the bullet spray popping up all over around the character where he's aiming. So there's a clear bullet spray that's happening. So there is going to be some good gunplay mechanics that are a part of this game, from what I can see. It's not just, I mean, you can see the spray here. It's pretty wide at 15 meters maybe. So I think gunplay is going to be something that they are going to attempt to perfect as well. It's not going to be I guess I should say realistic gunplay. It's not going to be a Fortnite with Bloom. It doesn't appear to be. It's not going to be like H1Z1. They're going to attempt to have some realistic gunplay. Is what I'm seeing anyway right now. Again, I'm taking some wild guesses, and sometimes some wild guesses, oftentimes educated guesses, but gunplay looks to be like, to me, like they're going to attempt to do it realistically.
What is it like to work on a cloud-based dev program that's going to let you do kind of the maximum of everything that you want to do instead of being limited by the technology?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Now again, what we're seeing here is he's shooting another player. It's hard to see because the quality of this video is not the best, but we just taking what we can get here so I can give you guys everything that I can find, even if it's not the top quality.
The real reason I came to Improbable from all the stuff I'd done, whether it was at Blizzard or Disney or other MMORPG companies I've been at, is there's always a technical limitation you hit, right? You're making these trade-offs as designers. We always think reductively, right? There's always some bad engineer.
I got 3
who's
colors.
saying,
What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? And
Again,
then you're
you
like,
see
no,
that
you
bullet
can't have
spray
that many
popping
people, or
up?
it can't be that big.
Looks
Or like,
really
the
cool.
servers
That
have to
looks
shut
really
off,
great.
and so everything's going to reset. And
Especially if we can
being
get a
able
higher
to
quality
then
video.
now work with with great partners and developers and saying like, let's remove those limitations. Like now, what do you do if we can think expansively
And
from
that
design?
players seem to jump
it's
across
really
the screen,
amazing, and I
oddly,
think it's
but
really leading
again,
us to
extremely
look
alpha
at
here.
game types, and it starts with like, how could you take this but now augment it? And then leads us to ask questions that we would just never ask before. Like, what is a game that if you had 10,000 people playing it at the same time, that's when it truly becomes interesting and great? Like, how do we build those social structures? How do we have that type of interaction? Looking at those questions and then applying that into game.
All right, he's going to do something here, and then I'm going to pause it because it's the end of the gameplay portion, but he's going to switch from a right-aligned camera in third person to a left-aligned camera in third person. That makes me wonder, when I'm playing a third-person mode, am I not able to ADS, or am I only able to ADS with some particular weapons? Unknown. Also makes me concerned for first person, if that's not a thing at the moment.
Game design is just a fantastic opportunity.
What's the most exciting?
So there it is. After this, they go into the trailer, or shortly after this, they pop into the trailer. But that does make me concerned, right? A little bit. I would like to be able to ADS with every single weapon that I pick up. Hopefully, that is something that they will give us. Because it would be extremely useful in first person as well to be able to ADS and not have to hip fire from third person. But again, I expect that changes will be made as we move from this E3 version of the game to the closed beta that I'm going to have access to the beta, to the actual release of the game. It's going to be an ever-changing environment, and I expect gunplay to be a part of that changing environment, along, of course, with technical improvements and everything else. So there's our first shot at gameplay, our first look at gameplay footage, not just game engine footage. I think it looks pretty great. It looks like the environment is set up pretty nicely. We're looking at a little city right here. I think there's going to be, I guess not city, group of buildings. And I think there's going to be a lot of these groups of buildings spread throughout this BR world. I expect that the map that we're looking at right now, shoot, I moved the wrong way. While it is very, very poor looking right now, no buildings on it or anything, I expected that to change as well. But the things that I think look good is that bullet spray that we saw, that the gunplay does look like it's going to be nice, and frankly, the UI looks very nice. I'm not gonna lie. While different in some of the BRs we've seen recently, this UI looks very nice. One of the things that I hope they will input into their game. Hey, Mavericks, Proving Grounds, my request: give us an opportunity to customize our UI. So as we're playing the game, if I want to move the map somewhere else, let me. If I want to move my gun loadout somewhere else, let me. Give us that opportunity to manipulate the screen. I think that would be outstanding. Not extremely important, but could be super cool. So I think I've talked enough. I'm actually not sure how long this video is going to be, but if you're excited about the game, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to come back for more Mavericks Proving Grounds footage, information, details. There are a few more videos that I want to take a look at and comment on, as well as their website, mavericks.gg, has a lot of great information on it about the game, about some of the backstory. It is really, really well done, so I'm excited to bring that to you guys as well in the near future. As always, thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will catch y'all in the next video.